When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape.
To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts.
Like brakes and batteries.
I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service.
And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time.
Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that could happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
The Sports Desk is proudly presented by Car Crafters. It's like it never happened.
And welcome everybody here to the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Coletti along with Ed Nunez. Alden Iowani is always our director, and we're going to talk about a lot of sports here today. We bring in Ed Nunez, and Ed, first off, it's that time of year. A little bit of snow on the ground, didn't last long, but in some parts of Albuquerque, a little bit of snow. There was at my house. That must mean it's Lobo baseball season.
That's a good point. I woke up this morning to the same thing because it's been a very dry, mild winter. So when I woke up this morning, I heard it raining last night, and I said, oh, okay, we got a little bit of snow, which we do need. There's no doubt about it. And you mentioned that the Lobos playing baseball team playing number 2 Oregon yesterday, and Oregon winning 15-3. And now you're starting to see more games, as there'll be a series this week, I believe, against Central Michigan, I think.
The Chippewas.
Right, at Santa Ana Field, Starfield, starting on Friday, I believe.
Yep.
So when you see weather like this, and you've lived here a long time as well, and sometimes I was telling somebody today, we're in short sleeves last week. There's some winter coats that I haven't even busted out that I like wearing, but it's been too hot. It's been too warm. So I was telling somebody today at work that we'll probably get snow in May. It's happened before, so the winter that we didn't have, I hope it doesn't happen in spring. But around here, especially the wind during baseball season, you've been out there, the Santa Ana Starfield plenty of times, and you've seen the wind wreak all kinds of havoc. It will again. So when you mention that about the weather, it's kind of funny that it is time for Lobo baseball.
Well, and the Lobos 1-3 to start the season, and they actually pulled out an extra inning win against Cal Poly. Otherwise, they could have been 0-4. But at times and stretches they played well, but Oregon State way too much for UNM. And this is a very young team. The old moniker. Every year it seems like it's a young team, and you hear, oh, we're young and this and that. But this is a young team. They lost all their stars pretty much from last year. They have a couple of good arms. Starting and out of the bullpen, but other than that, you got, as they're calling, baptism by fire.
And Ray Birmingham is very honest and forthcoming about that. he mentioned the pitcher from La Cueva, Chase Smith. He likes him. They did lose Carl Stadjahar. They also lost the center fielder, Luis Gonzalez.
Right.
And you know what?
Who was also one of their pitchers.
I love Luis. I love Luis Gonzalez because he pitch. He's a lefty, and in the outfield, he steals bases. He got on base.
Moving up the ranks in the minors, by the way. He went from short season to full season ball right away. So
not surprised. So when you look, and then before that they lose Jack
Zellner.
Yes, Zellner. So you can't lose guys like that in the middle of your lineup and just tell these guys, well, go ahead, you take this guy's place who's played 4 years for us and do what he does.
Right.
So Coach Birmingham knows it's a long game. Hopefully we can get him on again on the sports desk. One thing about Coach Birmingham, and I've heard him on the radio. We had him on last year. He's always optimistic about what you know what, we're going to get there. He'll say, big, Cowboy, we're going to get there, Cowboy. And when he says it, you're like, you believe him. You really do.
Well, the reason being because him, Ken Hockamy, they are among the best in the country at building players, both position players and pitchers.
That's a very an excellent point. Not only do they build them up as the stats and the stances and the pitching moves and the slide steps and things like that, I also think they're builders of young men, period. I don't know how you can play for a Coach Birmingham and not be inspired and motivated, and it doesn't work on everybody.
Right.
It's not foolproof with everybody. But when I've been around him, and I've been around a lot of coaches, a lot of in different sports, I just think the world of him. Plus, the added thing is he's from New Mexico. So he loves New Mexico, and he wants New Mexico. He always says it. We're going to get there. We're going to get to the NCAAs, and, I don't know when, but this team here, for a while, Scott, they may take it on the chin for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little bit they may, although I think this week they're in pretty safe waters, although Central Michigan played in Texas in a similar style tournament where they played 2 games against the host team, and they played 2 other games, and they were 2-2. So they come in 2-2, and the Lobos 1-3.
Well, they were at the Lobos were playing at Surprise, Arizona, and they got a couple of surprises handed to them, but I don't think it was so much a surprise that Coach Birmingham would say we didn't expect some of this because Oregon's number 2 in the country. They kept the game close for a while. Oregon busted out for 5 in the 5th, and the floodgates opened. So, and then the Lobos really couldn't match the power and the hitting, and they were shut down after that.
Yeah, the Beavers last year of Oregon State, over 60 wins on the year, so you knew they were going to be good, especially being that they have a lot of guys back.
Oh, yes. Get to the number 2 ranking in the country, and I love it that they're playing teams like that. I really do. It only makes you better. What you're playing in February now will make you better in May and in April and May. So just underway here. It seems like just last week that they were playing.
Right.
So I'm going to have a chance to do some PA action out there again. I'm looking forward to that. It's always a lot of fun to be out there, even though sometimes those games 8, 10, 11 innings are, and you just can't leave to go to you just can't leave. You got to stay there. It's not like I can just run down and go use the facilities. I got to stay right there.
You left out the 4 to 5 hour part.
You know what? I think one game last year was 4:41.
Right.
It might have been 5:15, one of them, but I think Frank Mercogliano had that one. 5 hours, and I think he had that one.
Right.
So, sometimes you're like.
There were a couple of late ones.
Yeah, you're like,
year.
and you're just like, oh man. I get it on the PA and I'm boom, got to get downstairs. But it's always a good atmosphere out there. And, you hear Jared Mang's mother, come on, Mango.
Right.
I mean, if you don't hear her voice throughout the park, she's a great fan. And the Lobos have a good circle of loyal. Fred Holtberg never misses a game. Marty Watts is always out there. So they have some great fans out there.
Now you got Connor Mang, who's an integral part of this year's team. So they're both part of the team.
You know what? Her voice, every time we're up in the PA box, man, in the press box, and we hear her voice to a T, you got the scorekeeper, what's his name? The guy he's been there for years. I can't remember his name, but he's been their scorer for years. He'll laugh. Robert Portnoy can't hear. He's on the headsets, but everyone laughs because that voice. Sounds like a coach, like she should be one of the coaches out there, but she's got that enthusiasm. You can hear her throughout the whole park.
Right.
Great fan.
Well, we were talking about weather. Well, the Lobo basketball team, by the time this show airs, will have already played in Laramie, Wyoming. But as of today's show date, it was 17 below wind chill and about 8 below regular temperature in Laramie. So you think we got it bad?
You know what, I remember a couple years ago in 2011, it got to -1 here. I remember walking out of work and my face was frozen.
Right.
And I thought to myself, gosh, I'm glad we don't have very many days like that. We're not very good cold weather people here. We're very spoiled by the weather we have. So think about -17. If there's a chill factor, it's even worse.
Well, that's the thing. There's a wind chill warning in Laramie. So I didn't even know those existed. But yeah,
you know, I go back
cold's
to
cold.
Thinking of that's a tough trip. I don't care who the coach has been, whether it's Norm Ellenberger, Gary Colson, Richie McKay, Dave Bliss, Steve Alford. That's a tough road trip. It's a very tough road trip. They're playing much better now. I wish I could watch that game tonight. I can't, but I'm going to be keeping a close eye on it for sure.
Yeah, one of the things, they turned the building around when they remodeled it. They put a lot of money into remodeling the arena auditorium just a couple of years ago. Put in, I think, more than what the pit renovation. They totally re-gutted all the inside. What used to be the sideline is now the middle of the court. So they kind of turned the court around. They put in a big club in the middle of the court and everything. So it's a round building. So I guess once you're inside, you can remodel all you want. But the bottom line is just going back to what it used to be. Not a very good sight line for shooting. And I don't know what it is now, but it can't be any better or much better.
Interesting. I didn't know that. The other thing is, I think one of the things I remember is just the Cowboy logo in the middle of the floor. I never forgot that.
That's still there.
It's a tough place to win. It's always been tough for any Lobo coach to go down there and win. And I did actually did a ref camp up there, Dave Hall's camp. Dave Hall had his officiating camp up there in Laramie, and we all went up there, a couple of guys from Albuquerque. So I remember calling some games up there and thinking, hey, wow, this is good. You know, I've seen this arena on TV. You know, when Mike Roberts was here, Henry T did games for the Lobos. You did, so it was kind of weird for me to be there and watched it on TV. But I'm anxious to see that renovation. It's kind of funny that you said they did, you know, more. You know, the Lobos, $60 million to renovate Dream Style Arena, University Arena at the time, and we can't get any NCAA tournaments in there because they say the floors don't fit and things like that. So. You know, a lot of people were split on that renovation. You know, there's some people that really liked it. And, you know, but right now, see, those luxury boxes aren't selling because they're not winning consistently. When they do, they will sell. But I think a lot of people are still split. I know, you know, a couple of fanatics here, you know, when the mezzanine came and, you know, had 18,080 fans, people are always waxed nostalgic for those days, believe me. They always will.
Yeah. My first year with the Lobos was the last year of the mezzanine, and I loved it.
Oh, wow. Wow, so you saw it too. You know, you saw it too. And what we call the power of the pit, you know, you know, there's been several, what Dave Bliss would call pit games throughout the years.
Well, I was at the official last 18,000 plus game that they had there.
Man, and I know, you know, again, you were the voice for 5 years, and you saw that place at its full power and full, you know, full throw when the fans were, man, when that place would get loud like that. And again, you know, you got an officials coming in and making calls against 18,000 fans. They're not going to be so, you know, anxious to do that. They're really not. I thought that place intimidated a lot of people. Greg Brown, the former Lobo, would say that before the game started, the Lobos were up by 10 already.
Yeah.
A definite home court advantage.
Well, the Lobos played Utah, then they finished the year at Wyoming, beat Wyoming to forge a three-way tie for first, lost to Wyoming in the first round of the NCAA, ended up going to the NIT, ended up playing Nebraska and then Notre Dame.
Oh, I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah, I think Tony Dandridge. No,
Tony Dandridge was a senior.
I do remember.
Daniel Ferris, Chad Toppert, that was their last year, and it was a funny thing because that Utah game, Scott Diedrichson, my former partner on the radio, said this is going to be your first pit game, and of course he was an assistant under Richie McKay, so he had a lot of experience in the pit. He said this is going to be a pit game. So during one timeout, when the Lobos went on a big run, place was going nuts, we both took off our headsets. He's screaming at me, and I couldn't hear him.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, I've told you that, but I'm saying that on the air. It was like, it was awe-striking for me because I knew it was loud, but you have the headsets on, so you don't realize how loud it is till you take those suckers off and then try to, let alone talk, but scream to the person right next to you, and we were even closer than you and I are, and we couldn't hear each other.
Georgetown came in here in 1985, and they played the Lobos with George Scott, Hunter Green, And you know, the Lobos really had no business being in that game, and they only lost by 6 because I think the crowd and after the game, that was with Ralph Jackson and Patrick Ewing, and that's the team that lost to Villanova in the national championship.
Right.
But they asked the Georgetown players afterward, they couldn't hear themselves either in the huddle. They couldn't hear themselves. So that place has been an unbelievable home court advantage for the University of New Mexico for a long time.
Well, last week a big win over Utah State at home, and going into this taping, a 4-game stretch. And by the time this airs on Wednesday, the normal airing date for the show, the game tonight, Tuesday, will have already taken place, and that's a game against Wyoming on the road. Lobos, after that, will have 2 home games and 1 road game.
It's important to get a win tonight. And there's Makach Malawach. He's been playing very, very well. He's really played well the second half of the season. And
this was one of those games where the Lobos, which, when they're able to do this, do damage. They wore down Utah State during this game.
One of the things they've been doing, we mentioned that their 3-point attempts are amongst the leaders in the nation, and I thought they played very well. They shot very well. Anthony Mathis had 25, I believe, and he's been out of this world as far. And think about it, Scott. He barely got off
7 of 10 from 3-point range.
Barely got off the bench last year, and it's a real key for the Lobos this year. Thank God he stayed. I know he was thinking about transferring, but he stayed, and it's worked out really well for him. He played an outstanding game.
7 of 10 from 3-point range.
Wow. You know,
let that sink in a little bit. I mean, you mentioned 25 points, which is impressive, but 7 of 10, most people are lucky to get 7 of 10 at the foul line.
Well, you mentioned he's a junior, I believe.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so you know what? You mentioned about the scoring next year, and I think Malawach and Anthony Mathis will provide some of it early on, and then the transfers will fit in. I think they'll be fine. Malawach has really impressed me the second half of the season. He had 26 in a loss a couple of weeks ago, and he's really played well. And I think Chris McNeil's starting to find himself. He had 10 this game, so he's starting to find himself. Look at, oh my goodness, what a slam there by Sam
you've
Lockwood.
mentioned, I was waiting for that highlight because you've mentioned his athleticism and, how he's a freak of nature in terms of body build and all that stuff, and having him on the court, say what you want, he is a definite asset for this team.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, and I think, again,
he being Sam Lockwood, of course.
Right, there's the standings right there. I think for the part of the season when he wasn't out, here's the other thing, it wasn't so bad. They learned how to play without him, and Coach Weir's like, look, we need you, but if you don't want to be around here, meet what I want you to meet as far as the criteria. He met it. I'm glad he's back because, gosh, you look at that guy's body. It's been like that since he's a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've always said that. I remember when he played for Craig Neal, he would go to the gym on Sundays and launch 1,000. I remember he'd say that. I read in the paper that he would go into the gym and shoot, put up 1,000 jumpers. His shots never got to the point where we think it's consistent, but as far as his athleticism and his slashing ability, you can't argue with that. Plus, look at the body.
Right.
That guy, man, you can put him on some athletes, and they're definitely, and here's the other thing that I heard.
Well, you also see how he jumps, too.
Oh, yeah, he's tremendously athletic. But here's the other thing that I heard I heard Anthony Mathis say this last week. We feel like we're in better condition than anyone in the conference, and we feel like if the game is close, that's going to make a difference. That kind of piqued my ears a little bit because I'm like, we haven't really said about the conditioning that these Lobos are in, and it's proven over the second half of the year. They've beaten teams where I think they were in better condition. Will that lead them to tournament wins in the Mountain West? We'll see. I'm not willing to say the Lobos aren't, maybe they won't win in the tournament, but they're not going to be an easy out. They played Boise State very well. They played Nevada well. Nevada comes here, I believe, next week, I think. So I'm not willing to sit there and just say, well, let's wait till next year. Let's see if they get to 16 or 17 wins. And if they do, they might have an outside chance. And let's see how they play in the Mountain West tournament. Might have an outside chance for the NIT.
Yeah, let's see what happens in the tournament before we go to break. The one thing about the Mountain West and the NCAA tournament, the games are played differently. So they're a lot more slow down, a lot less opportunity for fast breaks, which means a lot less opportunity just for everything that the Lobos are trying to do.
No, that's a good point. And
so we'll see how they do. That doesn't mean that they can't do it, but it's
an excellent point.
It always does.
Game shrinks.
The game. That's exactly what it is. The game shrinks, and it's played a little bit differently. We'll take a quick break right now. We'll take a look at the Dream Style Top 10 Plays of the Week and come back with more on the Sports Desk.
Two Eagles, no Bears.
That's a nice job.
Lipsey with beautiful find to Arroyo. On the block, puts the dribble on Ramirez. Up and in. Oh, send it away, Watson.
Long rebound out to Cameron Valencia. Up and underneath.
One of your best shooters has taken two of them. Brooke
Beautiful
Nelson.
look
That's
underneath.
Oh, blocked by Valencia. So Cameron Valencia quickly the other way. Into the lane on two.
Go behind the back, a little razzle.
Grilling going on right now.
Cole on the run out and the reverse. Beautiful.
I want to congratulate our first customers at our brand new facility right here at Gala Chevrolet, the Jose's. And how was your experience?
It was awesome and great.
What'd you end up buying?
We bought a 2018 Chevy Silverado.
And how would you say the experience was overall?
I bought all my cars here at Gala Chevrolet, and we couldn't wait for the new facility open, and all the people really treated us well.
Well, on behalf of Gala Chevrolet, we say thank you, and we'll see you soon right here at Gala Chevrolet.
The Barley Room, proud sponsor of Proview Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food, plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at Proview Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with Proview Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you.
And welcome back here to the Sports Desk. Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez, Alden Iowani, our fine director. Time now to switch to high school. Big week. District tournaments going on all week long. And Ed, we will look at, we don't have the graphics this week, but we'll look at the polls. It's in girls 3A. We got Texaco number 1, Tehachapi number 2, Tucumcari number 3. Eunice number 4, Tularosa 5, Clayton 6, Pecos 7, Dulce 8, Cuba 9, and McCurdy is number 10, but Texaco for the third week in a row, number 1.
It's no surprise there. And I thought Cuba, okay, it must be in the boys' poll. So Cuba girls are at number 9 this week. Everyone playing in the district tournaments, seeding and selection has probably somewhat been, decided. It'll change though. These district tournaments can change a few things.
Right.
So Texaco has been number 1, I believe, for 3-4 weeks now. So the Wolverines have always been a formidable opponent in that class. So no surprise there. They've been playing very well.
Take a look at 4A now in girls, and we're looking at Portales, followed by Robertson, number 2, Shiprock 3rd, Moriarty 4th, Pewaukee is 5th, Santa Fe Indian School is number 6. You got Silver, number 7, Hope Christian, number 8, West Las Vegas, number 9, and Socorro, number 10. No surprise with Portales still number 1.
Portales, yes, I think they've held that number 1 spot
since December at least.
Right, and I think they came in to beat Hope in a close game. They beat Hope, but they've got some of the same players that they've had for 3 or 4 years. That's a very well coached team. Moriarty, you had them at what number were they?
Moriarty was number
5?
4.
4. Okay, so they were at 3 for a bit of part of the season. I think they got as high as 3, so they only dropped to 4, and they depend a lot, of course, on Alyssa Adams, the fine junior ball player that they have. So again, everyone getting ready for the district tournament, kind of fighting for seeding. We'll have to see how that all plays out.
Take a look now, the final standings, even though we do have district tournaments going on, the final standings in District 4 in 4A. We'll take a look at that right now first. And you'll take a look at the girls' standings right there. Portales 6-0. Moriarty finishes in district play at 4-2. Hope 2-4.
So I'm guessing that Moriarty's 2 losses in district were to Portales. And, because they
had to be,
yes.
Yeah.
So they're 23-3, and 2 of those losses were against Portales. So that's a great overall record. But if you're the Pintos, you have to lament it a little bit that you didn't get it, you didn't beat the Rams, because they're number 1 in the state in that class and number 1 in district. So they took care of business against Moriarty twice. Hope Christian reeling really from the graduation of the stars that they had last year. Keep an eye on them though. I still think they could. They don't have the overall perimeter play I think that they've had in the past. But hey, you can't win every year like that. You can't. And Gary Ellis has done a good job in his first year there. But we'll have to see how that all plays out as well. And then Ruidoso winless in district.
Moving on to the final standings, 4A District 5, you got Santa Fe Indian, perfect 8-0, Bosque 5-3, you got Bernalillo 4-4.
I look at, again, the second place team is Bosque, and I think Santa Fe Indian undefeated. And look at their overall record, 22-4. And when you mention them, I just always think about that gym that they play in, man. That's a great venue for any New Mexico high school basketball team. So Santa Fe Indian 22-4 and undefeated in district. You know what? As the season goes on, you've got a mark on you when you're undefeated, and boy, teams want to beat you so bad. So every night you got to give it your best, because you can go to sleep, and sometimes teams haven't been challenged in a couple weeks, and they kind of take a night off, and they're thinking, hey man, we beat this team by 23 weeks ago, and that team is ready for you, and you don't meet the challenge. And it's okay in the district tournament, you can do that, but if you go to state, it's 1 and out. So that's a challenge for teams that are rolling on streaks like that.
Right.
Sometimes, and I'm never an advocate for losing, ever. Sometimes it's okay, get it out of the way. So let's get hungry again. Mm-hmm. Some teams get they get to that perception or deception that they can't be beat. Then you go to state and you lose in the first round.
5A Poland, once again, thanks to Manny Lucero, didn't get it to us. He's out of town, so we didn't get him in time to do the graphics, but we got him in time for the show, so thanks to Manny Lucero. In 5A, Los Lunas number 1, Bloomfield number 2, Gallup 3rd, St. Pius number 4, Kirtland Central is number 5, Goddard 6, you got Artesia 7, Miyamura 8, Espanola Valley is 9, and Farmington is number 10, but Los Lunas, no surprise, Los Lunas is still number 1.
I think Los Lunas and Bloomfield in that class have held the number 1 and number 2 since December. They played each other a couple times, I think 3 times. Los Lunas won 2, Bloomfield won 1. Pius has continued their climb up the polls since December. They were at number 7, number 8 at one time, and I believe you got them at number 4.
St. Pius, yes.
Okay. So right now, Marty Zellner, the coach of Los Lunas girls, that guy's one of the best coaches in the state. They had a really good article on him and his son Zanin, who plays for the boys team.
Who's a very, very solid player
Himself.
Yeah.
You know, and they was talking about how Marty Zellner, you know, he really appreciates Los Lunas head boys coach Travis Julian. You know, I'm sure they have a lot of talks. It's hard to not be there because when they play, the boys play, the girls are playing. So it's kind of hard. You know, you have to go watch the tape later. And there would be about half of me that's kind of divided because if it's my son playing, I hate to miss that.
Right.
But Coach Zellner has a job to do, and he does it well. He can be an imposing figure, too. I told you when he went on the sideline. I remember reffing his games. Tall guy, man. You know, he lets you know. And he'll express his unhappiness. The former head coach at
Got the
Grants
best
boys.
stare down in New Mexico.
Him and Ron Garcia.
Best.
Ron Garcia will stare you
Ron
down, too,
Garcia
man.
can stare you down,
yeah, Ron
too,
Garcia will
but,
stare you down.
yeah.
Joe Coleman will stare you down.
Yeah, I forgot
Danny
about
Brown,
Joe, yeah.
Travis Julian. I mean,
Yeah.
I can go on and on. And
Yeah.
I say these things with all respect because those guys are going to, you know, and women, some of the women coaches, Susan Kabbalah of Cleveland, she'll let you know, and I say that with all due respect because they all going to fight for their teams.
Right. Let's take a look now at how they finished in 5A. We'll look at District 2 and the 5A standings in District 2. The regular season standings finished as this. It was Espanola Valley number 1, Capital number 2, 5 and 3, and Del Norte 4 and 4. Not a lot of good overall records. Espanola just 14 and 11.
Okay, you know what though? Here's the thing about Espanola. We mentioned this. They had a coaching change in December. And you know what? Sometimes that can destroy your whole season because you're bringing in a new system maybe. The coach isn't familiar with the players. He's not real, or he or she. In this case, it was a man, I believe, they brought in. And it could mess up your whole continuity. In Espanola's case, it's helped them. It's obviously helped them. They're playing. They're 7-1 in district. Their overall record isn't that good, but I think they're trending up as opposed to trending back. So in Espanola's case, it worked out. Some coaches you bring in the middle of the season, I don't know how many times it ever works. You know, you have to really take the baton and run with it. So for Espanola Valley, it's worked out well for them.
And we'll go to 5A District 5, and Los Lunas a perfect 8-0. St. Pius 5 and 3. Berlin 4 and 4.
And again, the class of that district is Los Lunas. I know Pius played them twice, and St. Pius head coach Phil Griego has to be again lamenting. Boy, that's a competitive guy too. You know, we mentioned competitive coaches, and Coach Griego used to be an assistant out at Cibola to Coach Phil Schreier, and has been at Pius, it seems like, gosh, forever. Over 10 years for sure. He won a state championship, I believe, in 2009. Excellent head coach. So we'll just have to see how that, again, Coach Zellner has them playing very well. Only 2 losses all year. So Los Lunas definitely has a big X on their back as the state tournament approaches.
We'll take a quick break and come back with more on the Sports Desk.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales. The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach.
coach if I coach him beyond the game.
Dreamstyle Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dreamstyle Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dreamstyle Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet, our ultimate goal is to make life easier for you. That's why we built our new ultra-modern facility from the ground up with the customer in mind. With 1,000 vehicles in stock, a great variety of pre-owned vehicles of every make and model, a clean, state-of-the-art service department focused on getting you back on the road as quickly as possible, and a sales team devoted to 100% customer satisfaction. All conveniently located in the heart of Albuquerque. We'll see you soon, right here at the all-new Gala Chevrolet.
Carmody Medical provides solutions for your everyday needs. Hot and cold compression wraps provide therapeutic compression for the shoulder, hip, and knee. The therapy wraps are constructed of an insulated outer fabric and a ventilated cotton pocket to protect the body. Elastic belts allow mobility and deliver a gentle, adjustable compression. The reusable therapy packs can be removed from the pouch and placed into the freezer. Contact Jim for more information.
And we are back here on the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galletti along with Ed Nunez, Alden Iowani. As always, he's pressing the buttons and getting us on the air here. Another edition of the Sports Desk. Final poll in girls basketball for the regular season in 6A looks as follows. Cibola bumps up to number 1. West Mesa falls to number 2. Hobbs 3rd. Carlsbad 4th. Las Cruces number 5. El Dorado 6th. Rio Rancho 7th, Piedra Vista 8th, Highland 9th, and Mayfield 10th. Once again, Manny Lucero, our thanks to him for getting us these polls, but we didn't have an opportunity to have time enough to create the graphics. But how about Cibola going back to number 1?
If I'm West Mesa head coach Manny Otero, I kind of want to know why. I would be kind of, I might put it out there to the team, like you have to get them encouraged and hungry and say, look, we've won all our games and we beat them, and all of a sudden they climb over us.
Well, apparently, according to this, they're 22-2. Did they lose a game that I'm not aware of?
West Mesa?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, according to this, they're 22-2, and Cibola's 23-1.
So I've been reading the paper every night. I'd have to look it up.
Kind of lost track of them, so I'm not sure.
So you know what? Maybe they did, and
if they lost a game, then you would bump the team up with 1 loss, and that would make sense. Even though Cibola did lose to West Mesa.
Okay, so that must have happened. But I tell you what, I've been watching the paper, the paper every day, and that would have been a pretty big headline.
You would
Mustangs
think, yeah.
lose or Mustangs fall. I don't remember seeing that, but maybe it did happen. And if that's the case, then Cibola deserves to move to that number 1 spot. I have a chance to watch them Thursday night against Rio Rancho, and Rio Rancho did a pretty good job. Had a good game plan. They had Cameron Hawkins guarding Amaya Brown, and they were successful with that for a while. But Amaya Brown never stopped, and the transition defense for Rio Rancho broke down in the second and third quarter, and the Cougars got some easy baskets, easy layups. If you don't stop Amaya Brown when she has a full head of steam, she's going to get to the basket, and if she doesn't get to the basket, she's going to have easy assist opportunities or easy for her teammates, and she did a great job of passing the ball that night.
Let's take a look at the final standings in 6A, and we will look first at District 1 and 6A on the girls' side and see what went on. Cibola at 8-0. They finished the regular season 23-1. Rio Rancho 5-3, 19-7. You got Piedra Vista 4-4. They moved up above Volcano Vista after beating them head-to-head in the last game of the season. They're 21-5 overall.
Well, they were what, 18-3, I believe, or 18-1 or one time, and James Yotis wrote an article about them in December, and then they came to district play and they really struggled.
Right.
So, and then I think the other team that kind of told you this last week was Cleveland. Cleveland started out the season real well, and they didn't win a district game, which really surprises me. They had some talent there, but they might have had some injuries that I'm not sure of, but Susan Kabbalah had them playing well at the start of the season, so I'm a little bit surprised at that. And the other end of that is Cibola. I thought their overall game, Adamari Waddell played well last week. Asia Hamir, the freshman, she's going to be a special player. Paige Pike played well. Caleb Martinez. They all played very well against Rio Rancho, and Rio Rancho is a fine team. I think they lack a couple of more perimeter players to make a challenge or have a challenge Cibola for that district.
Let's take a look now at the District 2 standings in 6A, and there you go, El Dorado running the table 10-0. They're 19-5 overall going into the district tournament, and 7-3 is La Cueva. Clovis 6-4, 5-5 was Sandia.
La Cueva minus Kara Ingram, severely sprained ankle. She'll sit out the rest of the year, and that kills them. That really hurts them. I shouldn't say kills them, because that doesn't, there's always some other players on that team, but
right.
Ingram is their best player, and I think she was their leading scorer, so that hurts them, there's no doubt. Sandia under Lee Kettig, the former 6A or the defending 6A champions, had a rash of injuries. They're 5-5. I'm not even sure if Marisol Silva's still, she might have got injured. I haven't seen her name in the box score. She's one of my favorite players in the city of Albuquerque. The other thing is, we mentioned this, and I think El Dorado at 10-0 in district and 19-5, I think they're a team that probably deserves to be a little higher than 6. So El Dorado head coach Rich Harbin can use that for motivation, saying, look, what do we need to do? I think Coach Harbin likes where the Eagles are. You have to like it going into the tournament. They've been very consistent over the second half of the season, and I think they bought into his program. One of the players said that Coach Harbin makes them accountable, and they like that. So I like where El Dorado is.
Let's take a look at District 3 now in 6A, and Hobbs finishes off at 11-1. Carlsbad 10-2, Las Cruces 9-3. Overall, you got the top 3 teams at 22 or more wins. 22 for Carlsbad, 23 for Las Cruces, and Hobbs 24.
And we said this the last couple of weeks, and George Maya, his Trojans have 16 wins, which isn't George Maya-like, but still 16 wins isn't altogether horrible. And in that district, they're 6-6. So Las Cruces dipped a little bit after starting out the season very well, and they had some losses in between there, but they're still 23-3. And if you look at Hobbs and Carlsbad at 24-2 and 22-4 respectively, that's a pretty solid district there.
So District 4 now, and we'll see what happened with West Mesa. They finished 10-0, 22-2, so they hadn't lost since they lost to Cibola in that first meeting. They beat them in the Metro tournament, ran the table, and then they dropped to number 2.
Okay, so did you look that up?
So yes, they lost their first game. They lost to Los Lunas on the 27th of November. Then they lost the first meeting against Cibola on December 7th, 68-47. And they came back and beat Cibola 50-35 January 8th. In the Metro, they haven't lost since.
Since then, okay. So again, if you're West Mesa head coach Manny Otero, I'm upset. I am.
Well, now you're upset because I didn't realize. I had forgotten that they lost that game to Los Lunas, so I thought that they only had one loss.
Seems like eons ago, doesn't it?
Yes.
But I got to say this though, if I'm using that as motivation to my girls. I'm putting up the rankings, on the computer, on the PowerPoint, whatever you got to do. But I'm saying, look at what we've done, and they still don't respect us. We beat Cibola the last time, and they leapfrogged us. So I'm just letting you know, they still don't think we're good enough. They don't think we're going to come through. I would say that'd be my message to my team, and I'm kind of surprised that Cibola, not saying that Cibola hasn't played well, they have, but I just think West Mesa did enough to hold on to that number 1 spot.
Moving ahead now, we go to 3A on the boys' side. We're going to do the polls first, and then we'll look at the standings in 4A, but right now, we're going to look at the 3A boys poll. And in 3A, it's Texaco still at number 1. They're 25-0 on the year, according to the record here. Pecos second, Estancia third, Cuba fourth. That's the Cuba team that you were talking about that moved up above number 5 last week. Santa Rosa is number 5, Dexter 6th, Newcomb 7th, and then you've got Tularosa 8, McCurdy 9, and Santa Fe Prep is number 10.
Yeah, Texaco 25-0. Wow. That's another team that's going to have a big X on their back as the state tournament approaches and district tournament approaches. But they always play very well and still undefeated.
In 4A now, Bernalillo is number 1, followed by Silver, Hope Christian number 3, Moriarty number 4. You got Taos number 5, Shiprock is number 7 behind Portales, who is number 6. Sandia Prep is number 8. St. Mike's number 9, West Las Vegas is number 10. Let's look at the standings now in District 4. Of the 4A standings, District 4, you got Hope finishing the table at 8-0. Their only loss recently was a tough one to St. Pius.
They had reeled off 10 straight before that, and Pius had not, they hadn't played Pius, I believe, in a couple years, and so Pius needed that win. They really did. But Moriarty, Hope had reeled off. They were 7-7, and they reeled off 10 straight before they lost to Pius. So I still think Hope Christian, again, Terry Darnell and the Bernalillo Spartans are ranked number 1, will probably be seeded number 1. They deserve it. But the ghost of Hope Christian, is right around the corner, man, until you exercise it.
And you look at District 5 and 4A, and you see Bernalillo finishing at a perfect 8-0, 25-1, followed by Sandia Prep and Santa Fe Indian, along with East Mountain, finishing 3-5.
Marcos Rivera, the Sandia Prep head coach, has had a decent first season, 6-2, and District 13-13 overall. Be interesting to see where they're seated. But yes, Bernalillo has played well all year long. The only loss was to Belen. They could be undefeated if it wasn't for a loss to Belen in December. So Terry Darnell has them really locked in. He really does.
5A now, you got Espanola Valley at number 1, Los Lunas number 2, Belen number 3, Capital 4, Roswell number 5. Then the bottom 5 is Ortesia number 6, followed by St. Pius number 7, Kirtland Central 8th. You got Gallup number 9 and Alamogordo at number 10. But Espanola Valley still the class of that class, as they are 24-1.
Only loss was to Rio Rancho.
Mm-hmm.
And they had beat Rio Rancho.
They had beaten Rio Rancho,
so
and then they got revenge, did Rio Rancho.
We had mentioned James Branch, what a great job he's done out there. And you don't think that they'll be here at the state tournament here at Dreamstyle Arena in a couple weeks. And the question is, how many fans are they bringing with them? I remember when we did Roswell, Espanola Valley for the championship, when I was doing it with Henry T., that place was sold out.
Right.
And I remember how hot it was in there. It was so hot in there. But, yeah, you could have shoehorned about 2,000 more in there. And that's how fanatic the Sun Devils fans are about their Espanola basketball.
Quick look at the District 2 standings in 5A, and this is how they finished in the regular season. Espanola 8-0, followed by Capital 5-3, Del Norte 5-3. Capital with the better overall record, but Del Norte until the end was playing very well in district play, and then Academy and Los Alamos following up the pack.
Capital, as you mentioned, 26. Ben Gomez, seems like Ben Gomez has been there for years at Capital. And, but Del Norte, they let a couple of those games earlier in the year slip away, 1 or 2 point losses here and there. Their overall record would have been 500 or better, I believe. But I think they've also been playing well. They did take a loss to the Espanola Valley, pretty good one a couple weeks ago. So, but I thought overall the Knights have played pretty decent. So it'll be interesting to see where they're seated.
And then finally in District 5 in 5A, you got Los Lunas 7-1, Belen 6-2.
Again, the class of that district there, Los Lunas or Belen beating Pius last week at Pius. And the key game for the Sardins, I thought they'd have a chance to win that game, but Belen, pretty tough guards that they have, a new coach out there. So they've done well in overall 19-7, right there with Los Lunas at 6-2, Los Lunas at 7-1 in district.
We'll take a quick break and close out the show in one more segment here on the Sports Desk.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of Proview Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but 2 great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill. Hey, New Mexico, come check out the newly remodeled guest rooms at the new Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center, featuring 309 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space. New Mexico's only indoor water park featuring the Wave Runner. 2,200 square foot fitness center with hydro massage chairs. Also enjoy breakfast at our new Manzanita Grill and watch your favorite team play at Altitude Sports Bar and Grill. It's all at Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center. Ladera Golf Course. Open in 1980, Ladera features a full 18 including spacious greens, a large driving range, roomy practice putting greens, and 4 large lakes. Surrounding Ladera, beautiful views of the Sandia Mountains to the east and volcanoes to the west. Ladera is a challenging city-owned course with the longest playing yardage of any other city courses. For weekend tee times and more information, call 505-836-4449.
I want to congratulate our first customers at our brand new facility right here at Gala Chevrolet, the Jose's. And how was your experience?
It was awesome and great.
What'd you end up buying?
We bought a 2018 Chevy Silverado.
And how would you say the experience was overall?
I bought all my cars here at Gala Chevrolet, and we couldn't wait for the new facility open, and all the people really treated us well.
Well, on behalf of Gala Chevrolet, we say thank you, and we'll see you soon right here at Gala Chevrolet.
Don't forget, every Proview Network sporting event is on sale at our DVD store. Go to www.proviewNetworks.com to buy your DVD today.
And we're back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Colletti along with Ed Nunez, and we'll take a quick look at the polls in 6A on the boys' side. And you got Las Cruces, a perfect 26-0, number 1, followed by El Dorado, number 2, Atrisco Heritage 3rd, Volcano Vista 4th, Cleveland number 5, Valley number 6, West Mesa 7th, Hobbs 8th, Manzano 9th, and La Cueva number 10. And once again, the reason we're not looking at a graphic, we didn't have time to get the graphics. Manny Lucero out of town. He got them when he could to us, so we thank him for getting them to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have them completely. So
no, Manny Lucero,
he's always on the job.
Always. He's been great for the Sports Desk for a number of years now, not even when you weren't hosting, when Richard Tripp hosted, back to when Alan Keyes hosted.
Yep, he has been one of the staples of getting us information here on the program. We can't thank Manny enough. So, you know, and the thing is, he's out of town. He's apologetic about it.
Oh, no, I know. I don't know what we'd do without him. He's done it for us for years, and as I mentioned, he did it for several hosts before you. So, great guy.
Let's take a look now at the standings, how they finished. And, man, we had some surprises at the end of the regular season, and one of them was here. Not so much a surprise, but Cleveland seemed to have everything going their way, and then they were shut down in the final regular season game for Cleveland. Volcano Vista then had to beat Piedra Vista the next day, which was Saturday, to win the district in District 1, but what a finish by the Volcano Vista Hawks.
They really came out shooting well on Friday night, and I thought they took away the transition offense of the Storm. They did a good job with that, and, you know, Parmenter played well, Jelante Gray, Andres Vigil. They have some really good I thought Jarrell Phillips coming back, Matt Sprague, Ben Manzano. They've got some really good players there, and the thing about, I think people forget sometimes, Greg Brown's one of the finest coaches in the state. Won a title at Manzano, won one at Volcano Vista. He knows what to do in these situations.
Yeah, and then you mentioned Jarrell Phillips. I mean, he was lights out against Cleveland in that final game for Cleveland. That was last Friday, and, you know, having him back in the lineup is a big, big get for them.
You know, last year I saw him against Rio Rancho in the first round of the playoffs. And Rio Rancho was the defending champ, and Jarrell Phillips had 7 threes. 21 points. Corner threes, he loves that corner. And I really thought he was a big factor in the Rams, you know, in the Hawks title run last year. You know, David Cormier, of course, was a big factor. But Jarrell Phillips, without him that night, I don't think the Hawks win.
District 2 now in 6A, and we'll see some changes there. Not at the top. El Dorado runs the table, 10-0, 22-2. But Manzano, 7-3, 15-9. They overtake La Cueva, who falls to 6-4 and 15-9. La Cueva falls out of a home game more than likely.
Well, yeah, I think you're right as far as seeding, and that was big. And you know what? Manzano came on when they got Eric Sonnenberg back. That really helped them. I'm surprised a little bit that La Cueva dropped like that because, we had Coach Castillo on the show about 3 weeks ago, and I love their perimeter. I love Calius and the Isles brothers. They're really good. Tyler Ortega is also a good player. So I'm surprised that they dropped that far because their talent is better than that. So I'm just, good for, give Manzano credit, though. They did play well. Santa Fe was playing well earlier in the year, and they just kind of dropped off, as did Clovis at 1-9, and that's unlike the Wildcats. It really is. The Sandia Matadors 2-8, 9-15 overall. So, yeah, kind of a surprise there.
Let's go to District 3. No surprise here. The team that nobody's beaten so far, 26-0, 12-0 Las Cruces. Hobbs finishes second, 8-4, 17-9. Oñate finishes third.
Well, Hobbs, again, they didn't have the overall team that we were used to seeing Hobbs have. I saw them play against Cibola in December.
And look how they finished.
Yes, they still finished strong, 8-4 and 17-9. They'll get a home game, you would think, right? I would think
you would think so, yes.
But Las Cruces with Will Benjamin, and they got that injured player back in December, have been on a roll all year long. And Coach Benjamin, believe me, he'll let me know too. I expect a text any minute from Messenger saying, hey, we're on the way to the big city. He's coming here with a chip on his shoulder, no doubt about it. The Las Cruces Bulldogs are a very well-coached team and a good team. They take on the personality of Will Benjamin, and we mentioned the former Aggie. So I like that team a lot. And again, they have an X on their back too, though, because people are like, hey, we want to get that 0 down to a 1, as far as the loss column.
Finally, District 4 and 6A finished as follows, as it was Atrisco running the table, perfect 10-0, 22-2 overall, followed by Valley at 8-2. Albuquerque and West Mesa tied at 5-5.
So you remember Valley, 2 district losses. They only lost to Atrisco, I believe, by 1 point at Atrisco. And then Atrisco beat them at Valley as well. So, but Joe Coleman, they beat West Mesa last Tuesday, a game that I did for Proview Networks. West Mesa at 5-5 and a decent record overall at 16-8. Just can't seem to crack the upper echelon of that district, although they did beat Albuquerque High. And that's a team, again, 5-5, both Albuquerque High and West Mesa. The Mustangs a little bit overall record. But I think really, Scott, since the Bulldogs lost to Valley on that last second shocker with Anthony Chavez banking in a 3 to win it at the buzzer, I think since then, Albuquerque High has been kind of floundering.
So we are about ready to close things out here as we have a couple minutes to go. According to Alden, your thoughts overall on what we saw in the standings and what we're going to see coming up here?
Well, it's district tournament time, and a lot of the seeding and selections have been decided. You might get a team or two that gets on a run and hasn't had a run all year long, and that might get into the tournament and surprise people. But mostly the district standings that you posted and listed, things have been decided as far as that goes. We've seen who the better teams are. Atrisco, Hobbs, Las Cruces girls, Hobbs and Carlsbad girls, Cibola leapfrogging. I think that, to me, this week, that's the biggest story to me. Cibola leapfrogging West Mesa from 2-1 without West Mesa losing the game. That kind of leap there, that one's kind of a surprise to me. And if I'm Manny Otero, I'm a little upset.
District tournament, and then the big one, the state tournament, culminating for a lot of schools at the pit.
You know what? It's hard to believe here we are again. I can't believe how fast this season seemed to have gone. We said that about football. I'm sure we'll be saying the same thing about baseball. And the spring is right around the corner. It's just hard to believe it went that fast.
Thanks to Alden Iowani, as always, our director. For Ed Nunez, I'm Scott Colletti. We'll see you next week on the Sports Desk.
Hey everyone, Adam Deal here with Proview Networks. Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of Proview Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.